There's a topic that I've noticed that seems to be coming up quite a lot. And it's kind of bugging me, if I'm honest with you. And I'm I'm open minded uh, when it comes to most things, really, to be fair. Because I believe that the more closed minded you are, the less you're going to actually experience in life. So, my kind of topic, that, like I say, I've noticed more and more because, like, I am. If you ever kind of met me, you'd know I'm like one of the most curious people ever. Um, and I've always been that way. Like, I've always been, like, I'll ask question after question after question kind of thing. And um, whether it pisses you off or not doesn't really matter. But, it's my way of learning. And making sure that I'm doing things right. But anyway, the topic is to do with the paranormal. Now, like, I watch, gosh, loads of shows. Absolutely loads of paranormal shows, like real true story shows. And I even watch Ghost Adventures, and I can't even stand Zach Baggins. He is. That's how I heard it. He, you can tell he thinks a lot of himself. And if I'm honest with you, if you're gonna do the things that you do, you don't go and you don't provoke and then leave your best friend there to deal with it after you've just done that. But anyway, that's irrelevant. Point is, I watch it because sometimes it's actually quite funny. And it's very rare that they actually manage to catch Zach out, and he freaks out. But he freaks out over anything. He walks into a fucking web and he goes, "Oh!" But that's not my point. My point is, so these kind of like real stories of um like families and children seeing things and like them, it begins, say, like with the typical family, they move into a home, and then I don't know, say it's a mother and a father and one child, let's just say that. And the child is, I don't know, 8 years old. And they'll start to tell the story. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, we moved in and blah 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 blah," but then we, we would have our son coming in saying, "Oh, there's someone in the closet," or "There's something, like there. Please, will you come? Can I stay with you?" Or, that kind of thing. And it was like, "Oh, you probably just had a bad dream, honey," and they take him back to bed. um and it's heartbreaking for me, because obviously you gotta imagine, as a child, generally, anyway, it's really, really is a, I mean, children are way receptive because they are innocent, and that's why they can supposedly see what they see, experience what they experience. But I believe, I'm not judging anyone, but, if I had a child that woke up in the middle of the night, because I believe that anything is possible, because our universe is so big, we don't even know ourselves what's in it. And I'm a big believer of Einstein and things like that. But anyway, that's not the point. And so, yeah, if it keeps happening, if my kid, I'd be worried, and I'd know, like I wouldn't just go, okay, I'll take you back to bed now. It's okay. It's just a bad dream, or nightmare. You probably didn't see it. Whatever. But then obviously as time goes along, they then start to realise that actually it's something that is real, and it's something that I've noticed that a lot of people that have, from when they were children, they grow up and tell these stories. And it really does kind of mold them into the people that they are. Some had really kind of traumatized childhoods because of it, because their parents didn't believe them and things like that. And it breaks my heart, because at the end of it, it's almost like when, like Zach Baggins, like, he's a provoker. You don't do that. As far as I'm concerned, I treat you how I want to be treated, right? In life. So in death, that doesn't change for me. It's the same thing. So if you think about it logically, if you move into a haunted home that used to be somebody else's, you can understand why you might be having X, Y, and Z activity here, there, and everywhere, whatever it might be. Because what you're actually doing is, they don't necessarily realise that they're either past, or they're holding on. They're holding on, and they've never had an opportunity to kind of let go of what is theirs, and to be released from that. So, if you treat it like it's a living situation, like, if someone comes into your home and they're unwanted, do you know what I mean? Do you sit there and just let them eat your food, sit on your couch, watch TV? I don't know, have a freaking shower, whatever. No, you don't, do you? You're like, please can you leave, or, whatever. And it's the same thing in death. And I believe that you should be respectful of the dead. And this is why I don't respect Zach Baggins at all. Many of you might be like, but that's what he does. He goes into places, and you look, you watch. I've watched every single motherfucking episode. Okay? I watch it for the laugh factor, because he's... oh my god, the amount of times he's scared himself by walking into a wall or a web is just fucking funny. After all the things that he's done to Aaron, and literally, it just amazes me. But anyway, he provokes, and that's not fair. Now, I understand if things can be violent, but you've got to understand that communication. You still got to have that communication because obviously they're they're there still supposedly, uh, you know, trying to live out their lives, but they're not understanding, whereas we're in their space. So, if someone does invade your space, what do? You say, please, can you get out of my space? Please, thank you. And I believe that a lot of these kind of haunted stuff, when you move into, I don't know, houses, flats, whatever, general hauntings, you should have respect for the dead anyway, period, I believe. But if you do have, because I grew up in a haunted home, and there were always weird things going on. Like, I mean, really weird things. Like, I remember being hit with a door, and I'm looking kind of out, and it's like on the landing where there's no windows, so there isn't any, and things like that, or like there'd be things like that I couldn't see, like in the dark when I was trying to sleep, that would fall off or be chucked off my desk or whatever, or but anyway, my point is that I lived in that house for like 23 years, and never did I once ever provoke anything, because the things that they did were very non-provoking, and they were very, kind of, I'm here, hi, and that's all they want, and all you have to do is like with Zach Baggins, like get a family. Oh, we're so worried about our kids. So he'll walk in and go, do you think it's okay to flipping push a woman down the stairs? Da, 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 da. That's provoking, which means that you've got to think about it. We still have that mind, supposedly. If you believe in life after death, we still have that mind, that trait of thought. So, which then, that's going to trigger something and make the activity worse. So, he's a fucking idiot. Like I say, I don't care. If you guys want to do stuff like that, because I don't believe in Ouija boards at all. I've never tried one, never will go near one, because I have respect for the dead. But if you do move into a home, you know what you have to do? All you have to do, if you know it's haunted and you're noticing things disappearing or whatever it might be, you just say, I'm here, and I've now moved into your home or your property or whatever. I'm so and so, and I'd like to think that we could coexist, or that you could be at peace. And it's so easy to put these entities at peace. It really, really is. When and this is when they listen to you. You just you don't need a priest. You don't need a spiritualist. You don't need a Reiki healer. You don't need all these things. All you need is your voice and your heart, and to be talking to them like they are living. It's as simple as it sounds. So you just kind of say, well, blah blah blah. I've moved into your home, blah 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 blah. But I'm sorry for your passing, and I want you to be happy. I want you to be, not stuck here. And I'm sure you have family or people waiting for you. If you see that light, just walk through it or walk to it. Because that's the peace that you deserve. So, that's not hard to do. Believe me, that is not hard to do at all in the slightest. And it really does. Believe me, they listen. And you don't have to do much at all. At all. You don't even need to get paranormal investigators in to charge you. It's, to me, it's sickening. It's taking advantage of people's vulnerabilities, and you gotta have respect for the dead like you would the living, and that's imperative. Like when you go to a funeral, you've just also, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're related to them or not. When you go to a crematorium or a graveyard, same thing. Like, I'm very careful. If I do go to a crematorium or a graveyard or what have you, I am careful. I'm very respectful. There's nothing but respect, because you've got to understand these people were living once, So it's like with the Dead Files. That's why I love the Dead Files, because Steve Deshavi, his jaw drops when Amy just go, and this is a guy that was a cop, so he's just like, damn, and then he gets really angry. He's like, how the fuck do we get rid of this motherfucker? And although, it's entertaining, which it isn't entertaining for the people living there, but, yeah, it's amazing, really. I'm still curious, actually, how those two became kind of together. How they managed to work together, because as you can see, he's still, to a degree, a skeptic, but I think as the show has gone on, he's become more and more receptive, and he's been like, oh my, how did she know that? Because then he'll say, oh yeah, there was a person that used to live here, and so-and-so died here, and blah, blah, and she'll have a sketch drawn up, and it'll be that person, that kind of thing. But my advice, and this is all logic, and it's all common sense. Look, life is life, but death is death. And as far as I'm concerned, each and every single individual, so living or dead, deserve respect. So just keep that in mind, but don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it ain't scary or anything like that when, believe me, I've seen being in a haunted house. One Sunday, my mum was cooking, I don't know, something in a Pyrex dish, and it was a glass Pyrex dish, and I think it was a, yeah, it was a rectangle, and she went to check on it, so she opened the oven door, and the motherfucking thing just flew out and just smashed on the floor, and that's without her touching it, you know, so our house was quite active to a degree. It was an old house. It was at least 100 to 150 years old by that point, and now it's probably more like 200 years old. You know, but the thing is that if you've just got to, it's not fair on your kids when you're just be like, oh, it's just a nightmare, go back to bed. No, come on. Children, yes, okay, they have imaginations. But you know what? The truth is, we all have imaginations. We all have dreams. We all sit there and, you know, think about this or that. It makes no difference to anyone. Except for that child. You got to keep in mind that child has to live with that for the rest of their lives. And like I say, 9 times out of 10, a lot of these like reality paranormal shows, they are about people that are older that had experiences as children and their family didn't believe them. You know, and obviously, you know, when you've got no support, it's heartbreaking, especially for a child, because a child doesn't really understand, and if they're scared at the time, you know, you don't want to be like pushing them away and just tugging them back into bed and then leaving them, and it doesn't mean they have a problem. It just means that there's something else going on. And one thing that you do not do is provoke. You just have to make your peace. That's all you have to do. Like I would you. You know? Like if, for example, I don't know, introduce myself. I'm so and so. Nice to meet you. You know, it's that kind of, and there have been cases where people do live with, like, well, I suppose you could say to a degree, we did live with friendlier kind of entities and stuff, to a degree, and well, we did really, but yeah, so like you can coexist with them if they don't want to move on, but it's easy. It's as simple as anything. You just have to recognize and just say, you know, this is my home now. I know it used to be yours, and I respect that, and I respect you as a person, you know, and I want you to be happy, and I want you to move on, and I want you to see that light, and I want you to just go for it, as you probably got loved ones waiting for you, and I guarantee that you know, if it's not always that's what's going to happen, you know, and the atmosphere and everything in the home will change instantly. And like I say, I mean, I don't have any respect for, you know, Zach, really, and the fact that, I'm not gonna lie, you know, Billy licks his ass, you know what I mean, like, everybody just thinks Zach is all, no, like Ed and Lorraine Warren, they worked their bloody asses off um, to try and help people. They really, really did. And, like, it, hence The Conjuring and all those different things. Believe me, I watched every film well, not every film. I'm trying to find every film. But, me, I live in the real world. And the real world comes with a lot of mystery. And if you're not like me, where you're curious, like literally I am as curious as hell. Like if I get a new job, like I'm a hands-on kind of girl. I'm not your average female. Like I can fix and do DIY shit and all that bullshit, but I like to make sure that I know what I'm doing. So I will ask and ask or whatever, or yeah. So, but you get my point. Don't just dismiss it. I'm telling you now, you have the respect for them and they'll have the respect for you. And it is that simple. Fuck what Zach Bagans said, because come on, look, let's think about this. How many times does he walk into a home and say, do you like hitting women? Do you like pushing them down the stairs? Well, push me. What do you think happens after he leaves? The paranormal escalates and the family is stuck with it. And he's going in there going, I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you. No. When actually, all he needs to do, sometimes obviously it's different if it's, there may need to be an exorcism, but, we're talking kind of like more subtle-ish, generalish hauntings. That actually, I never understood why they could never just turn around and go, well, these people live in this home now, blah, 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 like I said before, and it just means that you have an understanding, you have agreement, it's all about communication, it's all about understanding one another, what one another wants from each other. And once that understanding is known, then you're golden. Don't treat anybody like you don't want to be treated. That's one thing I will say, and it doesn't matter in life or in death, whether you believe it or you don't. Now, I'm open-minded. Okay, I'm not saying everything is real, but I'm open-minded. Even though I was in a haunted house, since I was like this big, and there were some really weird things, like even my mum, because I didn't have a dad for a good few years when I was first born, and in the crib, I just remember this man looming over me like this, and obviously I was too young at that point, but like as I got older and I turned around and I said, Mum, I was like, who is that guy that would stand over my crib when I was a baby? And she'd be like, what are you talking about? And I went, well, there was this guy who was just standing over my crib, like just looking at me and leaning in. And she'd be like, but there was no men in the house. You didn't your father weren't involved at that point, like, because I've got a twin and there were two other sisters that I had as well, so everyone in the house was female. And so she was like, what? And I was like, well, there was this guy that, and she seemed really kind of like this. And so then I'm like, well, then who the fuck is that, But the thing is, we're all frightened of the unknown. That's the bottom line, and that's a fact. But it's your belief system that gets you through it. And believe me, trust that. If you're scared, if you're frightened, something that you hold dear, or something that, it's been passed down from, say, your grandparents or whatever, to say when you get frightened or whatever, if you just believe in yourself and believe you're comfortable and protected, and you'll be okay. And that's a promise. I can guarantee you that much. I know, because I'm going through a lot right now myself, and, well, yeah, I won't get into details with it, but, some real kind of life-changing experiences which aren't like me could have happened. But just keep that in mind. You walk into a haunted home that you've just bought, you don't have to flipping. That's another thing as well. When sorry, my nose is running. That's when that annoys me, when, like, people are like, they realise that they live in a haunted house and they can't deal with it, and they're like, we can't do anything, and then they sell it to someone else. That's not fair. That's not fucking right. Come on now. At the end of every single day, why do you think that house was cheap in the first place? Use your bloody common sense. I mean, come on, man. There's a reason why it's called the Sixth Sense. No? We have these senses for a reason. So use them. Whatever your gut is telling you, which I've got to learn to do more so, do it. But be respectful and kind and caring and understanding all at the same time. And I guarantee that the possible darkness, we're going to call it, or what have you, will fade away. Because if you strongly believe that you are in control, that you are powerful, or you have a power, or whatever, then you're golden. And that's the truth. And I think that's what you all need to understand. And don't play around with Ouija boards, please. Come on now. Stop. It's not a game. You're fucking with people. Like I just said, flipping heck. It doesn't matter. You are fucking around with things that you do not know. Period. Don't play any stupid paranormal games, all that crap. Don't do it. because it'll only come back to bite you in the ass. And I'm telling you now, once a curse is laid upon you, only the person who made the curse originally can break it. So you have to be careful who you piss off. But idealistically, you shouldn't be pissing anyone off. You should have respect for all and everyone, no matter what. So just heed my advice and understand that actually it's just so easy. It really is. Well, it's not so easy, but it's easy for you to converse and say, you know what, we could live together, we could coexist together, or, you know, if you see a light and you see your loved ones and you deserve to be happy, then just go see it, walk through it. There's nothing to be frightened of. I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously all cases aren't like that, but just keep in mind, we're the ones letting in evil by playing with Ouija boards, which we shouldn't. And I hate that. I absolutely hate it. It drives me mad. Why would you want to go buy a Ouija board? Come on. You're just asking to be fucking bloody battered and bruised and... I tell you, it drives me mad. I know I've been ranting, but I really, like, when your child comes in and says, I saw a monster, take it seriously. Don't just ignore that child. That child lives with that for the rest of their lives. No, their parents didn't even believe them. And it's just a load of fucking bullshit from start to finish. Have faith. Have faith. It's all about your belief system. If you believe that you've got inner strength, that you've got all the love in the world to share, you're untouchable. That's the truth. You're untouchable. So on that note, I'm going to shut up and let you think about it.